Hi, this is Web3 Talks, the podcast where we learn how to build Web3 projects directly from Web3 founders. My name is Maciej Budkowski and I talk with the founders about their projects, business models, technology, community building, user acquisition strategies, and more. If you want to start your own project or are just curious about the space, this podcast will bring you answers. Stay tuned. Before we start the episode, I'd like to say two things. First of all, if you like this podcast, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or whatever service you use. It will help us to reach more people and get more great guests on board. Second thing, if you would like to read or discuss good Web3 content, or maybe you have some suggestions for the podcast, you can join our Web3 Talks Discord channel. You can find the link at twitter.com/Web3Talks, and there's a pinned tweet with the link to the Discord channel. So see you there, and now let's start the episode. Today's guest is Yawn Rong. Rong, is it like, have I pronounced it properly?
That's correct.
Okay, I haven't pronounced it wrong. Sorry for this dead joke. But okay, so Yawn is the co-founder of the app called STEPN. That's Move and Earn app that has grown super fast in the last few months. And we'll talk a lot about this app. I'm a big fan. I've used it since, I downloaded the app at the end of December, but I started using it at the start of January, as I had my New Year's resolution. So I have skin in the game in this app and I know it from the user perspective. So I bet it's going to be interesting conversation. And before we get to STEPN, could you tell us a little bit about your background in this Web3 space, how you ended up here? What's your story?
Sure. So I come from a traditional business background. So I've been doing wholesaling and retailing starting from 2010 in Australia. And by 2017, we grow around 40 outlets in South Australia. We wanted to expand to nationally, but didn't go through. And then one day I got my friend asking, he got some Bitcoin, I want to sell it, right? Asking for my help. And we also doing some business together. So we started some research and then we find there were two exchanges and selling Bitcoins at two different prices. And then we know you call arbitrage opportunities. And we said, okay, hold on a second. That's a good business opportunity. So we start our business by arbitraging, and then that's in 2017. A couple months later, then all the ICO, craziness started kicking. And then we started to invest in altcoins. And then the business has been really well. At that time, what doesn't matter what you buy, 10x or 20x or 100x. So it's like, okay, all right, this is great. This is the best thing that happened to our life. So, we're doing that, form a company, start, invest sort of full-time, primary market, call yourself investors. And then the crypto winter hit and so lost a lot of money. And 2018, 2019, it was a, miserable years that we lost a lot of money. And then we have only a small stash of money. We said, what are we going to do with it? Right? So let's just go Bitcoin mining. And then we invest all our savings into Bitcoin mining right before the 12th of March. That's when the big dump on the Bitcoins. And then luckily we got our mining machine right after the 12th of March. And we pretty much lost hope. We said, that's it, the whole industry dead. And then we started mining Bitcoins. And then we see the parabolic uptrend all the way up. And by that time, we didn't know. So we said, 19,000 Bitcoin, that's probably the top. So we sold it. And then we did a bit of the DeFi mining and come back to the primary market soon after and did a lot of OTC desk. So all the way up to August last year. And then I was having a beer chat with my neighbor, Jerry, and he's a game producer. And we somehow talk about Axie Infinity. And we say, this is a great model. And then we realized that, hold on a second, I'm doing cryptos, I'm doing crypto trading. We know industry quite well, been in this industry for 5 years. And then Jerry has been in the gaming industry from 2008. So, over a decade. So I said, if we can combine our expertise together, we should, do something good. So we merged our two businesses together in September last year. And then we spent a month building a POC, win the Ignition Hackathon. And then we spent another month building the prototype, the alpha version. And then in December, we built the public testing version. And then, 2 months later, we got the iOS and Android Play Store approval. And people seem to like it. And then we hit on Binance, and people realize, hold on a second, this is a move there, actually working. People starting to enjoy it. So we have pretty craziness, hyped up thing happened in the last couple of days. But we think that this is just we just keep building stuff, right? We're building functional, easy to use, intuitive navigation, friendly also to non-crypto users app. So we try to scale this.
Yeah, so it seems that you have a very interesting story, and also this typical roller coaster story of a crypto investor with this crazy hype and soul crushing moments. Yes. So I think this is a very interesting experience for being a founder, because many traders just trade or start their VCs, but having that experience as a founder helps you to put yourself in the shoes of your users that might also, overinvest in some things. And that's the thing that I've seen in STEPN from the start. You on Discord have been telling people, hey, this can go up or down, and just be wary about it. Just don't overinvest. And this is actually quite contrary to what many projects do in crypto. Yeah,
we know how it feels. So that moment we say, oh my god, I just lost that's 50%, but 50% is okay. I mean, you don't lost 99%, still have a chance. In this industry, 1% can still turn it. So
yeah. Because we haven't mentioned what STEPN is about, I was supposed to do an introduction, but I decided that I would prefer to you introduce STEPN because, sure, it will be a fresh perspective and definitely more accurate. Okay. So could you tell us what's the vision behind STEPN and, the main idea?
Okay. Probably I'm going to tell you another sort of a long story. So,
okay.
So really, when we first started, we didn't think about it. We're just going to do a copy Axie Infinity. That's what people think. And then I call my friend and say, hey, I'm going to do a GameFi. And say, what are you going to do? I say, probably I'm going to copy Axie. And then they forget about it, right? This is about 500 projects. You look exactly like Axie Infinity. Mm-hmm. You're never going to make it. So then, okay, then we're going to do something new. And then some time to study X to earn, And then we find that moving is something that no one has, even mentioned it. That's roughly August and last year. Mm-hmm. So, a few contenders didn't show up yet. So we think, okay, right, great. We are the first, we are the original. So we're going to do it. So we want to create a game. And then we sort of, okay, what is the sort of the most famous person in the cryptos and, the Satoshi Nakamoto, right? So we call the game Find Satoshi. And basically just finding Satoshi by moving around the world, But 2 months into the app developing, we realized if you want to scale this, we realized that with the GameFi, it's usually very short life. And you have to always keep the sort of the narrative there. So, you have to continue the storyline. That's the thing. It's very high maintenance as well. So then also when we did the testing to the non-crypto users and they say Satoshi Nakamoto, never heard about it. So then we realized that that name is only matter to the people trading cryptos and not really easily rememberable by anyone outside of crypto. And then that's when we would think we probably don't want to do a GameFi project. We want to do a game-like app. So easy that even non-gamers can enjoy, and so easy that even non-crypto people can enjoy. So then we have to tune down and cut the narrative and then change the name to more catchy phrases. And that's the reason we changed to STEPN. And then the business name become Find Satoshi Lab. And then we said, okay, great. Then we pivot. We turn ourselves from a GameFi to a Web3 running app with game element. So that's our first pivot. And then we did about 1.5 months into the public beta. And then we see people starting to talk about the strategies of how they put actual coin, what kind of sneakers. And there has been pretty active talking in the Discord. And then we realized that, hold on a second, right? So if we can encourage people to talk about it, to create a social connection, a network effect, then this is actually a very sort of a good breeding ground for SocialFi. Because so far, we have no SocialFi or no social product on Web3 whatsoever. Here's the zero there. And then we started to think we probably can even scale this further. And then we pivot again. So we pivot from a Web3 running app to a Web3 lifestyle app that having both the GameFi and SocialFi element. So we're going to do both. And now we're looking back, we think that's the right direction, because we see, we can talk about this a bit later, but we see that many projects didn't go a long way because they stopped adapting and evolving. And for us, I think we've done that twice, and we realized that how important it is to constantly build user demand and to foster user connections. That's very important on Web3. So to go down the social path, I think that would be the right way to go to scale this beyond the crypto native community, to the non-crypto. And then, like what Facebook does, right? So, if you want to scale to the billion number of users, pretty much social is the only way, So the hundreds of million user base, you can get there with a running app. But if you want to scale to the billions, you won't have one ways, right? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that. And, I have one comment to that, but I will share it like in a minute. But so for people who haven't really used this app, Yawn has told like the high level idea, but the low level idea is super simple. Like you walk, jog, or run, and you earn tokens for doing that. So basically for me, what's the most revolutionary about STEPN is that you actually reward things that are healthy and good for people, like walking and, moving, with money, very tangible cash. Like you can convert the tokens that you earn to dollars or Solana, or you can just spend them to upgrade your sneakers because you need to get NFT sneakers. But, for me, it's very revolutionary because I played some play to earn games. And what I found very problematic about it is that as I was a video game addict as a teenager, I felt like, well, I don't need extra incentive to get addicted to games and just spend my whole day behind the screen, just doing some sometimes meaningless things. Some games are super cool, but some of the ones I played weren't too good for me in the long run. And here it's like you are actually incentivized. And if you paid me for playing these games when I was a teenager and my mom said, oh, you shouldn't play these games, and I would say, but mom, I earn money, I'm working, then it will be even harder for me to get out of this addiction that I was in. And because I wasn't, playing 1 hour a day, it was more close to 12 hours a day. So here, I feel that you actually use this money to incentivize very positive things. And I don't want to say that games are bad. I really like video games, but it's very easy to play too much, and you are rewarding things that it's hard to overdo. So that's one comment that I have. But the other that you said about, getting non-crypto people on board, I mentioned STEPN to my friend a month ago. We were just talking about crypto, and this friend of mine, he's called Mickey. He said, oh, okay, yeah, just tell me about it. I will research that. But, the idea of paying, $800 for some imaginary sneaker that's on your phone and you cannot try it on sounded so ridiculous that I felt pretty, ashamed to even mention that to him because, it's so unnatural for people who are not into crypto on everyday basis. But a week ago, we talked and, he plays STEPN, his girlfriend plays, his sister plays, his brother plays, boyfriend of her sister, girlfriend of his brother. And most of these people have never tried crypto in their whole life. So I am pretty sure that you have achieved your goal of making it easy to use for non-crypto people. And it really helps to onboard more people just so they can learn how the whole ecosystem, NFTs and so on work. So yeah, I just wanted to share this story with you.
Thank you.
We are talking about these rewards. And one of the most bugging questions that I had when I started was okay, how is it sustainable? Because I went for a walk for 10 minutes. I got $20 or something like that back then. And I was okay, where does this money come from? Obviously, it's not you are paying from your pocket because you create some tokenomics that's meant to be sustainable. And after a few months, it is sustainable. My prediction was that this token price will go down almost to zero. So people can earn for maybe 1 month or two, but then there will be so many of these tokens on the market that they will be worthless. But it hasn't happened. And could you share some main ideas behind the tokenomics of STEPN? How does it work?
Yes. I'm going to share that from two perspectives because I personally like to study histories. And, you have to read history with geology as well, and also with politics. And then you have the whole picture. So what we discover is that what happened let's say, right, for example, we have 1991 Russian financial crisis, 1997, Asian financial crisis, 2000 bubble.com bust, 2008. So all this financial crisis, especially in the developing country, is caused by the extractions of the US dollar, right? And then they have the debt crisis. And the reason that the extraction of US dollar caused the massive debt crisis is because their debt are US denominated debt. So that's happening all the time in the GameFi project or the world of cryptos is when people are extracting US dollar value out of the ecosystem of the applications, then you will weaken the ecosystem, and then to the point where the token price is going to get affected. Because all token prices, doesn't matter GMT or Axie Infinity SX, is all stablecoin denominated tokens or Bitcoin denominated tokens, just because that they have very strong tie that you have the trading pair. Then you are now bigger than the USDT or USDC. Of course, you are US dollar denominated tokens. So this is the typical scene in the matrix where Morpheus, right, present to the Neo. You have the red pill, you have the blue pill. We're going to choose. And we have that question to our users like all the time. Do you have the red pill of spend your token to access in-app services or repair sneakers, boost your mystery boxes, level up your sneakers, mint new sneakers, upgrade your gems? So you can see there's a lot of choices, temptations that you want to check. You want to sort of gamble, especially that you now can have twins of the minting. But you have a certain failure rate of gem upgrade. So people like to gamble a little bit here and there. So they like to take the chances, as long as they can afford it. And they can get this token for free just by working. Not for free, but they mine them, right? And I have this typical issue is I will just play around my mobile, take an hour walk every day. And by the time I finish my walking, I spend everything. So repair, upgrade, leveling, open up the mystery boxes. So that's a choice. You can choose to cash out. Basically you say, all right, I want to cash out, cash out. That's great. You have the choice. But most people will choose to spend some token in the app features. And sometimes, it's good feature and fun feature. And that's one perspective is we are a stablecoin denominated token, but our user have a choice. They can choose to spend in our economy, meaning that the US dollar are not extracted from the ecosystem. And even it does, there are many, many people trying to buy more because I think we standing on the shoulder of Axie to develop this game. We see what Axie have done right, and also we see what Axie have done wrong. And one thing that I think is Axie doesn't have the consistent burning mechanics. We have the consistent sort of repairs. You have the burn token repair. Mystery boxes, for slot, if you're full, you have the burn tokens, open the mystery boxes. So that's the two typical burning. That pretty much burn 50% of your earnings. And then you spend some amount upgrade, level up, you have not much left. So, and then people have to mint new tokens, mint new sneakers, and then sell on the secondary market, make money, and new people can come in. So that's the whole ecosystem there. When new people come in and existing people want to expand their energy, they're going to have more sneakers. And we try to make this as easy as possible so that non-crypto people can join the app. So just build up the ecosystem and beyond, right, just the crypto native crowd. And the other thing is that we actually initially give away sneakers to our users. And that allow user to find the price themselves. In the very beginning, in December, each sneaker sell like 0.9 sols. And GST was like 10 cents. But then the market quickly find the equilibriums, right? We're sitting around 10 sol and then $3 GST, stably for a month. And I think we find that equilibrium there. So that allowed actually, because we have people complaining that, sneakers too expensive and they cannot get in the game. But to be honest, if the sneaker is very cheap and everybody is trying to flood in and they don't really gonna appreciate how the game designs and the game element because they just want to come in and mine tokens, sell tokens, So the high price actually stopped people from, for the purpose of mining and cashing out because I believe that they actually see this as a quite big risk of investing something like over $800 just so that they can, check if this is actually working and they could lose that $800 right off that. So But people that can afford it, they also can afford more. And then they also can afford of not cashing out and enjoy some game elements. So up to date, the GIC is still a deflationary token. And we have to do, we're going to do the triple earnings this month because that it's not enough GIC on the circulations. People just burn it. So we will keep doing that up until, we can break even between the supply and demand. But so far, people spend more than they can earn. And typically be the case, but we don't have a mortgage. So people have to no leverage. So that's the design of the app, is so that we design in multiple ways that people always want to spend something and not cashing out because we offer them values. And that's the thing we're going to keep doing, is to provide value to the user, to show off socially and to talk about this and to build a rapport with other users and players, friends and families, basically. So so when people ask, oh, this is Ponzi, where the money come from? It come from other users. It come from people that can wanted to spend. People that make so much money in this bull market, they don't even care. Just, okay, that's, $100, so I just buy rare sneakers and see if this one is, good. And then they enjoy it and then spend more, doing the level 3 gems. And we just see somebody did the level 3 gem and failed. That's why 90 souls out there burned. 90 Solanas just disappeared. So people have, they are big spenders. In every game, they are big spenders. And this big spender will spend, 80-20 rules, right? They're going to spend over 50% of the whole ecosystem's tokens. And another thing is we don't see this available in Axie Infinity. People that make so much money, they don't have anywhere to spend it. And we offer that avenue. And when people say, oh, I cash out, it seems like the team is paying for that. It's not. It's like random big whales, trying to have their level 3 gems, buying all this GST, trying to burn it all the way from level 1 upgrade, level 2 upgrade, and level 3 upgrade. So, yeah.
It reminds me of like World of Warcraft. When you played it, like in the early days, like this gold was so valuable that you could buy, like a horse, like a sword, like a new armor, and so on. That even though you couldn't legally sell it to people, I knew people that sold it, just for some, a few dollars. But like, because it was so useful, few people done it because you could use it for a game that you liked. And here I see it's the same, like, there are so many ways of spending the tokens these GST tokens, that most people don't decide to cash out, or they say, okay, I will cash out when I get to the level when I will have some level. But because it takes a lot of time and a lot of people are coming, it's pretty sustainable. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. You said about your pivots. So I'm wondering, like, how have you acquired your first users, like the very first users of your app? Because it's always a challenge for new apps that require downloading things and so on.
Yes, we have to, keep everything free. And to be honest, I think for Web3, especially games, right? You can't do the NFT sales, right? You do NFT sales, you make good money, right? You make maybe a couple thousand Solana, but you then have thousands of your NFT holders waiting your game to be available. And they're going to do one thing, is just get money back. They're going to mine your token. They're going to sell it on the market. And they're just trying to get their return on investment as soon as possible. So the core essence of a good game is the data modeling system, is how, let's say, how much token you're going to burn to level up from 1 to 2, 2 to 3. And how much token you earn, and how in-game mechanics works. And all these require fine-tunes. And even, people in the team have like over decades of experience. We don't get the things right in the first place. We did like multiple tweaks on a weekly basis. And if we have thousands of users waiting there just to flood in and then mine your token, we made some mistakes. But because in the beginning, we're like, 20 users or 40 users, we can afford of making mistakes. We can afford a lot of mistakes. But for a lot of users, if I've sold, thousands of NFTs, I cannot afford mistakes. Each mistake going to cost me a lot. It's probably going to cost me more than the token I sold or the NFTs in the first place. So we basically just give away our NFTs to users, early adopters, early users, and hopefully they will play. But most of them just started on the secondary market. Typical.
Yeah,
0.9 souls Genesis sneaker. Now it was like 30 souls. But they are a small group of users starting to emerge. We give thousands of sneakers out, but then people are then buying that on the secondary market because, when they buy it with their own money, although the money doesn't go to me, but they say, all right, I pay this, right? I pay this really cheap, one soul, why not? Give a try. They have really low expectations, like almost zero expectations. Because, and again, with many of the NFT games, it's been hyped up so much. And then people have really high expectations. And then, you can, if you make a slight mistake, people say, this is bullshit, right? I'm waiting this for a long time. You are not allowed to have any mistakes. But us, we make many, many mistakes in the beginning, right? But people say, yeah, one soul, why not? It's just a very, it's like a nobody, right? Nobody in the team is sort of coming from like Stanford or Yale or big companies. So they have low expectation. And most of people are really scared that it is a scam, right? I mean, we've been that for a couple weeks. And but then we have more people gradually. We give away, people sell, people buy on secondary market. It's a functional product. People see that, hold on a second, right? Because people were complaining about the GPS for a very long time. And then we fix it. And people complain and say, hold on a second, I can use it right before, I can't use it now, because the GPS accuracy has been increased. But people see the improvement, the anti-cheating, the GPS, playabilities. We are adding new sneaker skins every couple of weeks. And then you start to have people believe in the project and people believe in the team. And then their expectations also starting to go up. But at the time, we already fixed hundreds of bugs. We already made all the mistakes almost. And we just continuously iterate and updating the product. And people say, okay, every new patch update, we do patch update almost, before we do 3 every week. And now, because we are on the iOS store, we cannot do them frequently. We just do 1 every week or 1 every 2 weeks. But people see constant improvement. And people see that, we release the investors detail in January. And people say, okay, right, some reputable people backing this project, seem legit. And then on balance, people say, hold on a second, I know this from December, I missed out, and starting to get focused. So we have to start somewhere really small and really humble and just grow, build stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you attract too much attention in the beginning, I don't think that's a good thing. You will be under a lot of pressures. Mm-hmm. You cannot make any mistakes.
I think it's a very inspiring take because in crypto, there's such a bias to hype everything so much. And many projects think that if they hype a lot, people will come, but they may come, but they won't stick. Because just as you said, the expectations are very high and you make one mistake, they say, that's bullshit. Like, I don't want to, they just, cheated me, scammed me. I don't want to use it. I go out. But setting these expectations very low is in a world where everyone is hyping. When you set expectations very low, you're actually standing out, And This is pretty smart differentiation strategy, actually, because the fact that you can make these mistakes, and I remember them, like I remember the GPS that was crazy and, that was showing that I'm not moving when I was moving and so on. It was obviously irritating, but because this was a project that hasn't been hyped everywhere and you weren't saying, buy this NFT sneaker and you will become a millionaire or like whatever. I have heard like 0 conversations like that. Because of that, I was like, okay, I will try. Maybe they will fix it. I don't mind. So this is my take on that for the people who are listening and try to start their crypto projects. Maybe it's a very good idea to just keep it low profile, at least for a while. And
I mean, if you really want to build a product, I have to start from a very small sample size and then get some feedbacks and improve it. I think that's really important.
Yeah. And, I have used this app since I think 6th January. So it's 2 months and something. And as you said, the pace of your development, how fast do you iterate and add new things? This is crazy. You introduced a new feature, with mystery boxes. So for those who haven't played it, you walk and you can find a box with some treasury inside. And because this treasure, there were 2 good treasures that you could find, basically. It worked like that for a day or 2 maybe, and then you fix it already. It was super fast reaction from your side. And, I would like to get to another question with that's related to the thing that we are discussing. And these are, like, the technical challenges that you have faced. Like, what has been the biggest tech challenges that you've faced?
We roughly spend almost more than half of the time fixing the anti-cheating mechanics. That's the hardest. So anti-cheating mechanics is the hardest thing, and then GPS is the second hardest thing. It took actually Strava about 2 years to fix this GPS, and then have to acquire a third-party firm to fix the GPS, because their GPS was also drifting, right? Not accurate. If you do some internet archaeology, you'll find that people are complaining Strava GPS in the early days, right? So because GPS is really hard, and we have to, do a lot of ask around. Luckily, we have know people that understand this industry. So we get some external help, and we fix the GPS on sort of step-by-step basis. Right now, it's pretty accurate. But going back to the anti-cheating, I think that's the thing that because in the very beginning we say, all right, we do move to earn. The idea is great, but it's really hard. One, you have to compact everything into one app. Decentralized wallet, you have to build a new one. There's no mobile version except the external one, right? But if you external one like Phantom, it only come out recently. You still have to jump in and out, right? It's not really friendly. Then I say, all right, people want to sell them the token right away, right? What we're gonna do? We're gonna also have a swap, and then people cannot buy the marketplace. On the website, I say go to Magic Eden and then send to their app wallet. Not really friendly. Right? I have to then build a marketplace. And you are actually building a wallet, swap, or marketplace, a whole move to earn element, plus a GPS solution and anti-cheating system.
And NFTs.
NFTs as well. So you're almost building a multiple project and combine them into one app. And one, that requires a lot of work. And two, for the anti-cheating and GPS, is not really crypto knowledge, non-game knowledge. So we have to actually get external help, and which we be able to get the right resources. And then the anti-cheating is almost like hacking, right? When you sort of want to hack into some sort of a system, it's really difficult for that system to defend itself, because from a network security sort of perspective, there's no safe structure, right? The hacker can always find somewhere to walk around. So the cheating and anti-cheating mechanics always evolving, right? We use three mechanics mainly at the moment. One is to use motion sensor. So make sure that you actually your motion is a human motion, right? If people are laughing at the project in the beginning and say, I'll strap this on my dog. But dog move in 4 legs, right? Human move in 2 legs. So the motion wavelengths is different. And then we have to do a lot of modeling, right? If you put your phone in your right pocket, it's different wavelengths. Right pocket, different, upper body on your hand, it's all different. Then you have to actually deduce, is this a real human motion, right? Then we need data, and then we say, okay, how we get data, how we assess data. Then we have to put in a machine learning mechanics in the server to check the motions. That's one. And two is that now we have the motion, but what happens if they have the pendulum thing, right? That's another thing people mocking us is, I'll just buy this one $5 and now $100. But we can cross-reference if you have to check you are actually moving. So the only way is that we use the GPS. The GPS data will have to make sense with your motion data. Then the AI also kick in to check if you are simulating the data on Android simulator, or you are GPS spoofing, because in the eye of machine learning, you can see the patterns. You have repetitive pattern, or if you write a random algorithm, because nothing is really random, you can, machine learning can still see, the random needs of the random pattern. And then they say, all right, this is a fake data. So I've done that a lot. And then we thought we're going to fix the anti-cheating. Then people are cheating in different ways, transfer the phone out, having multiple mystery box slots. Then I have to close a lot of loopholes, so the cheating is not only done from a technical perspective, also can be done by a mechanic perspective. So we're basically, fixing the cheating now on a weekly basis. And the anti-cheating system is pretty robust. We haven't got pretty much any breach at the moment. And we constantly check botting. There was attempt on botting, but then we fixed that. Mechanics exploiting, that's a common thing. We fixed several. And now I think without introducing new features, I think it's pretty robust. So it's a fast responsive to the cheating, and then fix it, and then repeat this almost on daily basis. And then that allows the fairness of the app. The main issue crash the economy is an uneven distribution of the token by cheating, for example, or by other means of exploitation. So that hasn't happened yet. So the economy is pretty robust, and people see the value, and because people earn hundreds of dollars a day, so that's enough for them to get them motivated to move. If they earn like $2 a day, people say, nah, forget about it. Right? I'd rather stay on my couch and watch TV and stuff like that. So there has to be enough motivations. And then it is that motivation encourage people to use the app as well. So the anti-cheating solved the risk of the whole app being exploited. So that's the foundation of the app almost. So that's the reason we spend almost half of our time to build the anti-cheating mechanics.
It's a pretty big problem in all games, the cheating, but in your game, it's a pretty interesting thing because as it works in the physical world, at least partially, because, person needs to move, it creates this, it's hard, as you said, to work it out, creates a good GPS and make sure that people don't strap their phones on their dogs and so on. But if you get it right, it's a pretty solid wall against bots, because you would have to create buy a robot, humanoid robots, and just give him a phone. And it's such a big investment that it doesn't make sense to cheat. But if you want to
hire people to work.
It would make more sense. But if you want to create a bot for, to cheat on some 100% digital game, you can just put this bot and at almost zero cost for you. So
yes,
I think that's a very interesting case as you work in this,
When we first did the study on the Axie Infinity, we soon realized that there were a lot of Axie farms.
Yeah.
And, there's one computer, 20 accounts, 50 accounts, just run, they have all the script down, automatic play. So that's the main issues. The whole economy has been undermined by bots and,
As you've grown super fast and you had so many new users, what has been the biggest challenges because of that? Because of, so many users coming? So
one thing is that there is undersupply of the sneakers, because we were undergone a period that when the GST hit about $4 and minting sneakers become unprofitable. And people just start minting. And then we have a sneaker prices, because then you can see that the marketplace has been cleared out by other people joining the app. Then I have to actually put in the activation code system so that people can join slowly. Because with the scared, GST price being high, no people mint sneakers, supply have been dropped. And then you can suddenly see the surge of the sneaker prices. And again, that's another thing that triggers us is that we can't have people buying sneakers at too expensive prices. And that causes issues. So like when you buy S9 money machine in the end of 2017, you're never going to see your money back.
Yeah.
That's the same analogy, right? So we say, all right, hold on a second. We can't allow that much people join the app so that they don't unknowingly buy at high prices. So I think control the expectation, also protect the users. It has to be the top priority, even if we have to sacrifice some of the short-term sort of gain in the DAUs. I think that's more sensible approach. Yeah,
that's the conversation I had, I think, with Andrew from the City Coins, that in most games or apps, typical Web2, Web1 apps, the worst case scenario is typically, the user gets angry because he lost his password, or, he cannot access app or whatever, or his data is leaked. But here, the worst case scenario is user losing his life savings or, the money for his kid's college. So if you have one user like that, it's 100% that he's going to go around the world and say, oh, this is a scam. They have stolen my money. Yeah. So I think it's very wise to do whatever it takes to kind of insulate yourself against this scenario, because it can be very damaging for the whole project.
Yes. And because of that, we actually have a lot of one-star reviews from the App Store because they can't get activation code. There's no activation code. Every one-star. Angry. But I think that's still better than people getting at very high prices and find out they got. Because at one point, it was ridiculous that people selling like a mint 3 sneakers for 10 souls. And if the guy with mint 3, they can't do anything, right? They can't mint anymore. So, also people are selling like a 0 durability sneakers. We fixed that. The user can sell it in the marketplace, but then we ban it. And then they were selling that on Magic Eden. And then we have people that bought sneakers with 3 durability left. And they have to spend like 60 GSTs to repair it and feel really bad for that. So then we said, just try to buy in-app app store, NFT marketplaces, so that we can, we see this kind of activity, we just go out and ban it to protect the users. But again, Magic Eden can't do it. So yeah, we've seen that before, so we feel bad. And I think what we want to do is just if people are going to wait a bit, it's better to wait a bit. And also people say, I don't really feel comfortable investing $900 or $800. Let's just wait. Maybe one day the price is going to come down or the rental going to be available. So you guys can come in.
Yeah. Yeah, but
there's no rush,
Yeah, you know how it is in crypto. Everybody is like, oh no, fear of missing out. Yeah, I cannot wait one more minute because I will lose my opportunity of the life. So people are pretty far from being patient in crypto.
Yes.
But the fact that you onboard also non-crypto people gives some, chance that they will be a different type of users with different type of expectations than, crypto people who want like 100x returns or something. And for normal person, like when I told about this app to my friend, and she was like, oh, I can earn like $10 for walking. That's so cool, so much money. I can buy a lunch for that, or like like a box of chocolates or whatever. And they're normal people are so happy when you give them money for like whatever, and even if it's small amount. And people in crypto space get so just overstimulated with this get
100x yeah. But that's a good thing that the non-crypto user have really low expectation, right? Even $10 make them happy, right? $100 is going to be thrilled.
Yeah.
$100 in crypto is like nothing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I have two quick questions. The first question I have is about your community building, because you are very active on Discord. You do educate people, you run Ask Me Anything, quizzes, contests, like many things. So I'm wondering, what's your Discord strategy? Like, how do you take care of it? Because there are already many people there. Like, I don't know how many, but maybe 10,000 or something like that.
60,000 people. We have
60,000.
Actively about, let me check. We have, we have about 59,000, sorry. And then we got 5,000 online.
Yeah. So this is a very big Discord channel to operate. So I'm wondering, what has been your tactics so far?
We had our lessons with Discord, because I always, coming from classic crypto, era, I'm always using Telegram. That's sort of the tool, back in the 20s. I never really getting used to the structure of the Discord. So none of us have any idea in the first place. But then we win the Solana Hackathon that actually got our first batch of people joining us. It's a couple hundred. Then, people just say GMs every day. That's it. So I have no idea how to manage that. And by that time, I don't even know what GM means. Yes. But I think we are lucky that we have one community manager that really, really good, Gilgamesh. That's our head of Discord. So she has 14 years of customer service experience, and really tough. Right, really tough.
Yeah, she's very tough.
So she set rules for people, and people breach it and ban people. Right, so I think people are disciplined relatively well in the Discord. And for a very long time, the Discord is dead. Nobody go there, nobody talk, and we have no idea how to do it. And then we're just basically going back to the drawing board. Like, hold on a second, how do we, talk to our communities? And then we had that idea is to build a quiz bot, but then there was no quiz bot around, so we had to build everything ourselves. And then we had the first hourly quiz, and people have to study our white paper, answer the quiz, whoever the first, win. And then you can see this will exploded, right? People are starting to talk about, white paper, it's like when before your exams, right? Trying to do these preparations for exams. And we all the time have very active Discord users. Then improve the quiz many times. The quiz bot constantly fighting with alt account cheatings and people copy answers. There's still a lot of technical challenges we have to overcome. But overall, it's great. And then, then that's when the whole community is starting to come to life. And then we have our private beta, we have the public beta, and then people just keep joining. And then we keep basically giving away sneakers. And then we see at the time we have our AMA starting to engage with, users. I think the quiz system is a turning point to stimulate the conversations of users. And then we did our Twitter space, we did our lot of AMAs, and it's easy when things starting to going on to the right path. It's always really difficult in the right beginning. You have very little user, the engagement is very low. People appear to not really care about the project. You just join here by accident and then never come back check out. So I think I have to have a way to talk to community and engage with them and stimulate them really in the beginning. So answer questions, win sneakers, and that's our strategy. Because again, people have low expectations, right? So I think that's the key element of success. One is the Gilgamesh join us, and the second is we have the idea of running the quiz. And then after we did it, we see other few projects also did it, and they have done quite well as well. So I think that tactic actually works.
Yeah,
it can help you to understand the app, and also help you to build the communities at the same time.
Yeah, and when someone invested their time to understand the app, they want to either like use this knowledge and educate others, or use app more, or like invite their friends because they are already invested like on the time basis in the app. And also, Gilgamesh, for people who haven't been there, like I have been once muted for I think maybe I don't know if it was 24 hours or a week, I don't remember, but because there was this quiz, because you have quiz that's every day, and I didn't know about it. I just seen a notification, and I just opened this quiz, typed my answer, but I pressed enter. But it turned out that everyone was answering all the answers.
I have to click.
Click, right? So I wanted to edit it because I wanted to put our answers in one box instead of different boxes. And obviously, it's not allowed because people could edit the answers. And despite the fact that I told people that, sorry, I didn't know, I got muted, and I spoke with Gilgamesh after that. And I said, okay, I understand it. And I think it's a good decision because you need to keep discipline, and if you don't do it, if you say, oh, no, yeah, we understand that in your case, then people will be, oh, but what about my case? And everything will get very messy. And the other problem I had was I took part in one contest a long time ago. And I won, but then I haven't won because it turned out that some user found out that I have given my answer 2 hours after the deadline, because it was middle of the night. I've seen this contest. I'm I will write it down and just put enter. I didn't even look at any deadlines or whatever. I just look at the basic rules. And because your deadlines are in Australian time, at least they were back then, it wasn't natural for me to think that it's the other day already in Australia because, it's 12 hours or something. So I won, but then, they said
that disqualification.
Yeah. And, they said that I haven't won in the end. And although, I also obviously said because, I wanted to win, but I understood that because, you cannot make exceptions when there are so many people on the Discord channel. So yeah, that's just my comment that I totally second your very disciplined approach to Discord.
Because even within the team, people say, Gilgamesh have been too strict. But, further discussion is, that's the way, right? That's the way to manage the community. Because people have to be, people can freely talk, but they don't have to obey the rules.
Yeah.
In every community, in every society, you have to do that.
Yeah, when Gilgamesh...
Otherwise, it's anarchy and chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when Gilgamesh was coming, when the Discord was smaller, I felt oh no, mom is coming, everyone was
people stop talking.
Yeah. But, it was very useful and a very nice moment of the development of the Discord community. So I got one last STEPN related question. And this is a question about partnerships, because your app has enormous potential when it comes to partnerships with running clubs, sneakers brands, and so on. So I'm wondering, have you explored any ideas of partnerships already? I've seen them on the roadmap, but they have been just stated in a very non-precise terms yet. So I'm wondering, do you have any plan related to partnerships?
It is actually some classified information, but I think people will see something relatively fast. But again, we still want to work out a few details. But I think our path is we have to make some roadmaps of what we want to be. And I think one way is to leverage the sneaker brands to build our own virtual sneakers. Because in many cases, I think when like the whole society is transiting from one to another, for example, the invention of steam engine and then the petrol engine, you will have a whole new industry emerge. I think the Web3 is sort of a new industry. When we talk about history, right, 100 years ago, the railway industry is the biggest industry in the world. And now you can't even see it on the NASDAQ or on the, so the IT industry become the biggest. And that partially explained, right? In the past, factory workers, right? You have one husband working, can support 2 kids, a wife, a house pretty well. And now it's coders, programmers, one husband working can support. The industry shift. And so that's the sort of the benefit of being early in the industry. So when we are talk about online, Web3 or NFTs, that's a new industry. And now there are benefits of being into this industry. And when maybe the whole landscape change, you will have the Web3 sneaker brand versus the Web2, right? The Web2 could be fade away or be part of the Web3, merge and become something new because it's a whole new industry. Nothing and no one knows industry better than the native people. They're not going to be somebody that come from another industry. Even they can achieve very successful stories, but because it's difficult for big companies to turn around and say, okay, let's ditch all these sneaker manufacturers and then let's move on to Web3. It doesn't work like that, right? So, and that'd be a lot of risk for them to do it. But for a light body, small business, startups, it's very easy to pivot, to grow, iterate, to shift, and somehow can make successful stories.
Yeah. Like my first idea about it was like, okay, you can work with Nike or Adidas and just like, make them like you can buy like real shoes, but also have like a version in STEPN. But I haven't thought about it that you could actually have, like Bored Ape, Yacht Club branded shoes in the app. Like this is a very like crazy idea that these, Bored Ape, like as they merge with punks lately, like they become like super brand, like super like Marvel plus DC under one umbrella. So like they could, make shoes like whatever they want. So yeah, like this is super interesting.
Because like antique trading, right? People are trading like Van Gogh, all these famous painting for millions of dollars, right? And that has been passing down generation and up until Gen Z, and they have NFTs. And they're now trading Bored Apes, trading CryptoPunks. Not going to buy the already inflated prices of Van Gogh, right? They don't see the value of it. The new generation needs a native art pieces. So this is the thing that everything that you're born with, the technology you're born with, something you take it for granted. And the technology after you're born, especially after your adolescence or teenager or like adulthood, becomes something evil, right? So this is the thing that people are born in this generation. They are born with the digital payment, everything crypto related, and they get used to it. They know that, they understand that. But for our age, people still see that as an abomination, right? This is evil, right? Because they cannot learn and adapt. Very few of us can learn and adapt, and it's very difficult because they actually have to have you step outside their comfort zone. So I think the new generation needs new things and tools and breeding ground for them to grow and not to be tied and shackled by the old stuff.
Yeah, and the whole status game, showing off, signaling is totally different. Like in physical world, someone buys a Ferrari. In digital world, someone buys a Bored Ape if they want to show off. And
it's all about consensus.
Yeah, and you wouldn't post a Ferrari picture on your Twitter profile picture because it would be like very very tacky. But like you can do with Bored Ape because it represents something more than just showing off. It's like the whole culture and so on. So this is a very, like, we could, I guess, spend an hour just talking about this subject, but we are getting till the end. So I have like three, like, most basic questions that I always ask. So the first one is like, what has been the most mind-blowing or surprising project that you have seen in Web3 so far? Like something that it doesn't need to make sense. It can be just something very weird or, strange or something very unusual that you have seen.
If we're going to talk about the cryptos, I think the proof of we hand certainly will be the one that most blow my mind. I think it's a 2018 project. That's when DICE on Tron is become very popular. That's like 10 years ago in the crypto age. So I think the whole concept basically blow my mind is because that actually it is a human nature, right? So it tickle you and then it also punish you. And there's no best way. And it's always about prisoner dilemmas on a massive scale. I think I borrowed that concept to design our governance. And with the carbon offsetting donations, right? People have to constantly sort of pondering what other people are doing because there's a collective consensus of donating the profit the project made in exchange of the long-term benefit of having more governance token or burn a bit of their own token so that they can access to the staking reward. So I think that actually also inspired portioning of how we designed the app.
And what has been something that made you smile or, made you laugh on the way? It could be fun.
So I think the most satisfying moment for us building this project will be sort of in your face moment for the non-believers or the haters. I think that is very satisfying that you prove that your concept works and you prove that we are capable of delivering something people likes. And for people that never put a tiny cent in our project and then basically trash talk about our project, I think it's good. We spend a lot of time building. Many people just receiving hairlines because of this, and it's all worth it.
So, just one last question is because I really enjoyed the conversation. I love talking with builders, and the whole idea of this podcast is we only talk with builders, people who build, no traders or investors. Sorry, investors and traders. And, do you have any idea of a person that might be a good fit for the conversation that we had today? Someone that you know?
You mean as a guest or as a team or?
As a guest, like some interesting builder, someone who creates something, worth talking about.
I think, this go back to the core essence of the GameFi because when we talk of GameFi is game and finance, right? Emerging from the DeFi. So two things matters, right? One is the gamification and the game element. And the other one will be the financial design or crypto related design, tokenomics typically. So I think if we are going to pick, because the game design has been evolving for the past even thousands of years, where people, back in the ancient time that people games, right? Gamble games. But tokenomics is something also emerged a couple of hundred years ago, where we have different macro and microeconomy sort of a series come out. And I think that if we're going to pick a guest, it's going to be somebody that designing the tokenomics. That I think one way that we've been talking about all the sort of shortcomings of Axie Infinity, but I think the dual token system actually very inspiring to us. That is solving a lot of trouble because there's no way that you can balance a game or a project with just one token. Serving the purpose of governance, the utility, many things, and a multiple NFT system. It's also important that we actually are going to have 3 to 4 different NFTs in this app, plus 2 token system. That's going to make the whole game very complex. So again, kudos to the Axie Infinity. To their tokenomic designers. I think Delphi did it. It's great. I think, if there be anyone to be with us, probably would be that Tom, right, from Delphi. He did the Axie Infinity's tokenomics. Great. But I think what they are lacking is the gamifications element, where, a different sort of multiple use cases of their game token. So I think that's enough Axie talks for tonight.
Yeah. Like these are very interesting idea. I haven't talked with anyone about tokenomics like in length. So it would be super interesting because it's like a core of the almost every crypto project because almost everyone has tokens.
Because it's pretty simple. That it's all revolved around how you can design a different scenario to burn your governance token willingly or unwillingly by the users. Sometimes they burn it to access future features, and sometimes burn it to access immediate gratifications of using the game feature or the product feature. And alternatively, you will be having typical example will be something like a Binance. They did the buybacks because they're actually making profit. That's all right. Ours buy back all the tokens and burn it. But initially they burn it, right? So it's all about control the circulation, control the supply, another way would be staking. You stake, you reduce circulation, then you can do burns, and then you have double effect. So that's all financial. It's all about how people calculate how much on the market, how much in control, so that we can, pump and dump, things like that. So, this is crypto, right? So people definitely going to speculate. People definitely going to try different ways of reduce the circulating supply, or either by locking or burning. And but it's all again going back to the human natures, right? Sometimes in good times people are great, in bad times people are fear. So you are constantly juggle the greed and fear. And same with the games, right? It's a game element as well. So you're trying to gamble, but sometimes you fear of loss as well. So I think a good project, I think, have to make a great balance between the human natures of greed and fear, so that people are constantly juggle between these two. And in the meantime, they're burning their token, reduce the circulating supply. So but in the meantime, I think with our app, we're still trying to help people have a healthier lifestyle, contribute positively to the carbon offsetting. I think that still remain our primary goal. How we achieve it through, juggling between fear and, greed, that's okay. I mean, that's sort of the vehicle of getting to the end destination, getting healthier and reduce carbon.
Yeah, that's super cool. Thank you very much, Yawn, for this conversation. And yeah, like we spoke in length about all the subjects. And if anyone would like to learn more about STEPN, just go to stepn.com and you will have links to Twitter, Discord, you can do the app. And yeah, definitely try it out. I don't, it's not investment advice. So like I don't recommend buying any sneakers or whatever. Just look around, just see how it looks like, because it's very interesting from the design perspective. Thanks a lot.